In the news from overseas, Israel and Egypt, acting on the advice of the United States, agreed to negotiate face-to-face at the battle lines to implement the ceasefire along the Suez Canal. The breakthrough was announced in Washington by the State Department and the Egyptian government in Cairo. It would be the first time the two belligerents formally met since the outset of Six-Day War in 1967. The extraordinary move by the United States in arranging this Israeli-Egyptian meeting was taken at the initiative of Israel. And that move came about as 600 UN peacekeeping troops flew into Cairo and began to move out immediately along the Suez Canal battle lines. The United Nations Security Council, after many delays, voted 14 to nothing tonight to approve a 7,000-man peacekeeping force. 70 unarmed Soviet observers have arrived in Cairo to join the United Nations Truce Supervision Organization. Egypt is reportedly ready to accept a similar number of Americans as an observer force. Acting Attorney General Robert Bork spent today at his Justice Department offices sounding out potential candidates for the new Special Watergate prosecutor and narrowing the list. Bork says that he has submitted 5 or 6 names to the White House for consideration, and he says the White House has made some suggestions. Bork says that the men he is suggesting all come from outside of government, but must have prosecutors' experience. On Capitol Hill, congressional Democrats are increasing their threats to name a special prosecutor of their own and to put the prosecutor under federal Judge John Sirica's jurisdiction. They say they are not satisfied with the president's promises to cooperate with the prosecutor, and they want the prosecutor to have guaranteed independence. The American Bar Association is urging Congress to create an Office of Special Watergate Prosecutor, and the Bar Association is saying the prosecutor should be appointed by the District of Columbia's U.S. District Court bench. In sports action today, first this rundown of Western College football games. Stanford defeating Washington State 45-14. Oregon downed Washington 58-0. UCLA 61, University of California 21. Notre Dame 23, USC 14. University of Pacific beat Santa Clara 44-6. Wyoming over Brigham Young 41-21. San Francisco State downed Cal State Hayward 47-7. And Azusa Pacific 21, St. Mary's 20. There's pro football tomorrow here on KSFO, being played at Candlestick Park, heard only on radio, no television tomorrow. The 49ers play the Atlanta Falcons. The game begins at 1 o'clock. Airtime is 12:40 here on KSFO. And in pro basketball action, Buffalo beat Cleveland, the New York Knicks over Philadelphia. At the half, Chicago leads Houston, and Milwaukee is in front of Phoenix, also at the half. Fair skies through Monday in the Bay Area with patches of fog tomorrow morning. Highs tomorrow and again on Monday into the upper 60s and to the upper 70s with light winds. That is KSFO News. Aaron Edwards reporting. KSFO News is everywhere. And now it's time for Pete and Betty Bethards.
We are not married. We're not even brother and sister.
All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, but I can't tell you why. The season's spinning round again. The years keep rolling by. It seems like I've been here before. I can't remember when, but I got this funny feeling that I'll be back once again. There's no straight lines make up my life, and all my roads have bends. There's no clear-cut beginnings, and so far, no dead ends. I've found you 1,000 times, I guess you've done the same. But then we lose each other, it's just like a children's game. But as I see you here again, the thoughts run through my mind. Our love is like a circle. Let's go round one more time. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the night time till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, but I can't tell you why. The seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling by. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. The moon goes through the night time till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, but I can't tell you why. The seasons spinning round again, the years keep rolling by. All my life's a circle, there's sunrise and sundown. The moon goes through the night.
All My Life's a Circle, and I use that as the theme song for welcoming Betty Bethards here again on a Saturday night. Hi, Betty.
Hi, Pete.
Okay, we got the highs over, and one of the things that we started to, that I talked about last week of leaving it to a kind of an open program for those people who had been listening and had not called in previously, or maybe did not understand what was going on, or had some particular questions for you, Betty. And what I thought of while we were waiting, or while I was here before you got here, was to talk about meditation, because that's one of the things that gets talked about a lot on this program, and maybe there are still people or new people who have not heard about it or gotten into it, or maybe have heard about it in some ways and not in any kind of depth. So what I would like to do with you before anything else is to get into talk about meditation, especially the way you teach it and how you've set up the Inner Light Foundation as far as getting people into meditation groups. So can we do that in a little bit? Okay, Lou?
Hoskins, this confounded Proposition 1 is starting to worry me. You've got to get back and really stir up my constituents.
But, sir, they don't seem to be buying our story. They're fed up with taxes going up faster than their income.
Well, did you tell them that if Proposition 1 passes, their property taxes will go up?
Yes, and a schoolgirl showed me the section of the initiative that specifically prohibits that, unless the people want to change.
Well, what about our story that if the initiative passes, it'll cut out health for schools, environment protection, and public safety?
I tried that, too. And a housewife read me the part that says state spending doesn't have to go below the 1973 level.
Did you tell them there'll be no money for future programs?
I tried, but a school teacher showed everyone that if Proposition 1 is passed, state spending could triple in the next 15 years. And a big emergency fund is always available.
Hoskins, whose side are you on, anyway?
Well, sir, maybe you'll just have to find yourself a new boy.
Proposition 1 is our first and maybe last chance to keep state taxes from getting out of hand. Let's all vote yes on Proposition 1, paid for by Californians for lower taxes.
One good thing after another. KSFO.
Come to American and save at American and save the American way. Your savings are safe at American, and we're proud that we can save. Save at American, you'll find with American your savings will grow each day. Since 1885, it's true that Americans led the way.
American Savings is paying the new higher interest rates. The highest rates American Savings has ever paid on savings accounts since 1885, compounded daily. You always receive many, many free services with minimum balances. With assets over $4 billion and capital and reserves over twice legal requirements, shouldn't your savings account be at the giant American Savings and Loan Association? Safe since 1885. Convenient office hours include Saturdays.
Save at American, you'll find with American your savings will grow each day. Since 1885, it's true that American led the way.
Okay. It's, Betty and I we discuss secular houses. Yes, Betty and I are both in the process of trying to buy a house. Not the same one, a different one.
I'm selling mine, too.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll talk about real estate tonight.
Mine's got beautiful vibes in.
So does mine.
You can walk in and be healed.
That's what I say. As long as I can afford it, I'll be healed. You got to be well healed, as a matter of fact, to even buy it. Okay, enough of this. right, let me give you the phone number here. It's 982-5517. If indeed you do have some questions about meditation, either the way you've heard about it here in Betty talking about it, or maybe even other forms of meditation, because there are different systems for meditation. And also one of the things that always gripes me are the people who get involved in talking about meditation on a competitive basis. People who say, well, there's nothing better than transcendental meditation, and you do anything else and it's going to make your brains fall out, or whatever else. That kind of thing really bothers me, that competitive thing. Do you hear things like that from people, too, that there are, there are certain kinds that are better than others?
Right.
Okay. Let's talk about what you do first and how you got into the thing of meditation. It is a well-worn word by now, the word meditation. What does it mean in your terms?
To the way my guidance has explained it to me, they say meditation is being still and knowing thyself. They say everybody prays, but nobody ever shuts up long enough to listen. And meditation is when you become still and you listen. And you do know yourself. All your negativity and all your garbage that's sitting down there inside of you bubbles up. A lot of people want to quit meditating because they say, all I see is negative things. Well, if they just realize that getting that negativity up and out of themselves is going to keep them from becoming physically or emotionally ill. Mm-hmm. And that the best thing you can do is get it up, look at it, but don't get hung up in guilt behind it, and go through it.
All right, now, you say that your guidance has told you this about it, those certain facts. Mm-hmm. What about meditation in and of itself? What characteristics you have described it as being a chance to listen back or get feedback, some sort of spiritual feedback?
Right.
All right.
It also increases, if you want to leave the spiritual end out of it, it does increase your five senses, and it heightens those and brings in the sixth sense, or the psychic ability, or extra awareness, whatever you want to call it.
All right. Now, how long have you been into meditation yourself?
6 years.
6 years.
Uh-huh.
And how did you start it? What got you involved in it? Maybe that'll be a guide to some of the people who might be listening.
When I moved down here 7 years ago, it was shortly after I moved into this house that I'm trying to sell. And anybody that gets it, boy, you're going to get clobbered. A month and a half after I moved into this home, my whole development crashed in on me. I started developing psychically like you wouldn't believe. I'm certain that something in the ground under that house, maybe an Indian burial ground or something, I don't know, but there's enormous energy there psychically. And it caused my development just to come boom right down on top of me. And of course, I didn't believe in it or anything else, so I was trying very desperately to block it.
Yeah.
And it frightened me. It scared me because I knew it was real. I knew it wasn't my head. I knew I wasn't crazy. And so I prayed for it to go away. I didn't want any part of it. And the whole room then filled with this enormous amount of energy. And I was told that I must do it. But
how did you feel? How did you perceive this energy?
Oh, I could feel it like standing amidst waves coming through you. But they were energy instead of water. But it was hitting me.
But you really felt it physically?
Oh, yes. Everybody in the room could feel that.
Wow.
And it lit up the room. And I was levitated at that point.
Yeah.
But when I came down, someone said, all right, if you're going to do this, you're going to do it right, or you aren't going to do it at all. And they threw my shoulders back, hit my stomach, and there was nobody in the body in that room except my husband. And they told me exactly how to do the meditation. They said, you will teach this, and to anyone you teach it to, they will have protection. They will never get in trouble. One of the White Brotherhood would be assisting. Well, I didn't know what it was supposed to do, and I did it for a year and a half, not even knowing what the heck meditation was.
All right, what were the instructions that they gave you as far as the way for you to do it?
To sit with the spine erect, and they explained the spirit's housed there, and you have to give the energy, that prana, room to breathe. The life force was there. And to keep your hands together, closed, so that you're closing a circuit.
Yeah.
And then to concentrate on one point for 10 minutes, clearing the mind, stilling the mind.
Yeah.
And then the next 10 minutes, you turn your palms up in your lap, and you just let it flow right on through. And you don't try to interpret it or anything. You're just observing, but you're very passive.
Any of the things that are going through your mind, you just are observing those things.
Right. So you're passive but aware.
All right. So the first 10 minutes, you try and clear your mind, and you leave one point. Either you see one thing, a spot of light or some sort of a scene.
TV screen is a nice thing to concentrate on.
Yeah.
Or the ocean. I like the ocean or the pines. Whatever calms people, that's the whole idea. And, of course, if you're concentrating on a Cadillac or a house, you're going to get it, but you're going to pay for it. And it doesn't have to be money-wise. It means you will pay for it through your soul.
Yeah, one way or the other.
That's right.
Yeah.
And but the beautiful thing I found is little things didn't bother me anymore. And I thought, gee, I wonder what's wrong with me, because I'm Scotch-Irish. I used to blow up regularly, every week, pound. Out I came, and I found I wasn't blowing up. I was very even-tempered, and that wasn't me. So pretty soon I found the big things in life weren't throwing me either, that I was able to cope, and I had a higher awareness. And I thought, hey, this is great. I wanted to bottle it and give it away. And that's how I started then the meditation groups.
Do you mean a higher awareness just on a what we would call an everyday level, not just a spiritual level, but just a higher awareness
getting through your day-to-day life,
understanding
with the
where people are and
your family, your co-workers, just being able to see where they're coming from and don't get caught up in the game. And this awareness, you just don't take it personally.
A lot of people have asked me this question about you, is that had you any kind of training, or were you at all into any of this, or had really studied on it at all before this thing happened?
I had never heard about it. I was so naive, I didn't even know about Christian Science, which the thoughts are things I was taught later on. But I can look back now, and I was deliberately blocked. If I'd found any books on it or something, it would have colored it for me, and then I wouldn't have believed it. But by teaching me all this, and then letting me see Casey's things, I thought, my God, somebody else knows. And then I got into different religions, and I found out they already knew that,
Yeah.
So then I could trust it. But the way they brought it through me, it was much simpler. And I'm sure that was the reason, because I never could have understood it the way most of it goes over my head. It has to be in simple terms. It does not have to be hard.
Yeah. All right. Now, what is the difference between the kind of meditation that you were taught by whatever your guidance said, and the forms of meditation, let's say the Eastern forms of meditation, where there are great years and years of discipline that are involved in getting into the states of meditation? I guess there are many different states of it. What are the differences? I mean, why is this? Has this somehow been westernized for our American culture that likes to simplify things, or what is the reason for it?
I get from my guidance that they were taking the best of the East and the West and putting it together for people here to understand. Because we have families, because we have to get out and work during the day, we can't do all that discipline that a lot of them teach and do, because we have to make it out here in this world. And the whole idea is not to retreat from the daily living. It's to take I get the energy and the good feeling, the good vibes that I get in meditation, and use them the next day, all day long, in every one that I run into. A lot of the Eastern ones have not taught people to close down, and this was fine in the Eastern world, and it was great in ashrams or where you're just in spiritual communities. But here in the United States, you cannot open up these chakras, and all of them open your psychic centers. Any meditation is going to do that. You have to be able to close down afterwards so that you don't go up and down with everyone else. You get too pure, and you can't make it then out in this world. And the idea is not to retreat, but to take what you're learning and live it.
Yeah, I think that is a very, very important part of it, because a lot of people who have expressed feelings about you and many of the kinds of things that people are getting into, or the spiritual areas that people are getting into, because there are an awful lot of groups that have started to work either on meditation or into some sort of spiritual insight into themselves. And it's peculiar how people start to think about the purism. Well, it can't be any good because it isn't. First of all, you're not suffering enough, which of course in the Eastern cultures you have to. Well, we're suffering under different circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a couple of other questions about meditation, but I don't want to take up the time of the listeners, and we do have several calls on. I'm sure there are people who are trying to get on the line. So why don't we go to the phone calls, and if we can get to some of the other questions about meditation
afterwards. I'd like to say one thing, too. As you grow and as you open and become aware, it's like it opens your spiritual eyes and your spiritual ears, You see more, so you'll hurt more. You have a bigger understanding and more compassion. But you'll also work harder then to make these changes. And there is a discipline, a heavy discipline there.
Yeah.
But just meditating 20 minutes a day is a discipline.
Well, that discipline alone, because it's also, again, one of those things that people say, well, I don't have the time to do it. I'm a busy man. I get up in the morning, I spend 8-10 hours working at my job, I come home, I like to relax. And I don't have time for this. And I guess the only answer is...
Beats a 2-hour nap, though.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of men that'll close their office doors on their lunch hour, meditate their 20 minutes then. A lot of secretaries, particularly here in San Francisco, go sit on the john at lunchtime and meditate. If anybody wants in, it's a bit crowded, but for 20 minutes, they're closed.
You can do it. All right, let's go to the phones here and see if we can pick up what some of the people have to say here. Maybe what we should do, Lou, why don't we get a couple of our commercial messages in, let the people know who's providing for us, and then we'll get to the telephone.
This is Gene Nelson, and I'm speaking to you from the Tia Maria restaurant in San Leandro, and I'm standing next to the table of Al Christian of Alameda. Do you eat in Mexican restaurants often?
Yes, quite often.
How would you say Tia Maria compares with other Mexican restaurants you've tried?
So far as I'm concerned, it's tops.
Why is that?
They have very good food and good service, and the waitress and everyone is nice.
What do you think of the building itself?
The most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere and people and the whole thing, it's really nice. I mean, I think it's just tremendous.
You do very good commercials.
And I mean what I say. I mean, it's very good.
Those are the only kind of commercials that mean anything, is if you mean what you say.
It's really good. I mean, I recommend it to anyone. We've toured all through Mexico. We go maybe once a year, and I haven't found anything down there that beats Tia Maria.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's Al Christian of Alameda. That's Tia Maria Restaurants, where satisfied customers tell our story best.
You're on the air on KSFO.
Good evening. Betty?
You didn't push the red button.
Oh, there's red buttons right on there. Okay.
Go ahead.
Hello, Betty. My daughter was awake the other evening in her room. Of course, it was dark. And she saw this vision come out of her closet door, and it was white to gray like a cloud with lights around it. And she said it seemed to be moving toward her. And I said, what did you do? And she said, I turned on my light. But she's disturbed by this.
What color lights? Did she tell you what color lights were around?
Well, just clear.
By clear, you wouldn't see through clear. Is this white?
White light,
Okay, white is truth. I would say this is probably her guardian angel, or one of her teachers. Now, children tune in so easily like that. They just manifest there for them. Was the person frightening? Naturally, you'd be scared to death when you see it. But
she saw this, and her reaction was, I was surprised. Now, this girl is 20.
Wow.
And she saw this standing in her closet door, and it seemed like it was moving toward her. And when I said, what did you do? I thought she might have called us, but rather than that, she said, well, I flipped on the light.
Yeah, well, that would make it disappear. Entities manifest as lights. That she saw one, there must be an important reason that she was shown this, because normally, if she's 20 years of age, it would be blocked pretty much by that period. But that she saw it would mean that her guidance is working to wake her up to this realm. They're saying, hey, you have something to do this life. Start looking into it.
Yes, well, she, as a little child, 2
not.
years old, she could play anything on the piano and this type of thing. She came with this little musical gift. A tremendous gift, I think, but she hasn't used it.
No, but she will later on, I guess. As she gets older, she will. But I feel that this entity, which she saw, was a teacher, and I feel very good about the person. And particularly with the white lights, you can't get any higher.
Great. Now, what's best for her? Start meditating?
I would say, what do you want? I would have asked, and I certainly would start meditating, because there's a reason this person appeared to her. They must consciously want her to know. She has a job to do, obviously. Because that's not granted very often. That's like an initiation thing.
Great.
And you don't get to see that very often unless there's an important reason. It would be like they're trying to make her have to search for answers.
And meditation would be the answer? Now, you have meditation groups in the East Bay?
Yeah, we do, all over the Bay Area, and they're all free. They meet once a week in people's homes.
Now, who can I get in touch with? Or is there a number?
Call the Inner Light Foundation at 897-5581, or you can drop them a postcard asking for the group coordinator's name, and it's Post Office Box 761, Novato, California, 94947.
All right, thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good evening. You're on the air on KSFO with Betty Bethards.
Oh, hello, Betty.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I've been feeling lately that there must be something that I should be doing in order to serve humanity in some way and God at the same time, and I don't seem to be able to find a door open for me. Can you tell me what I might do?
I get that the reason the door isn't open is that your energy level isn't high enough yet to safely protect you. If you gave too much, you would become exhausted and drained. So it's like a protection for you. Are you meditating?
No, not very often.
Okay, you really need it because you have a low energy level. You give out to people all the time, and it is a low energy level. And until your own guidance knows that you're safe, they won't put you in a position where you're going to have to continually be draining your own life force, particularly if you're not putting it back in via meditation. And that's all meditation is it's feeding it back so that you can give it out again all the next day, but then you have to put it back in. Or it does drain you. You'd be exhausted.
Well, if I can get my energy up, then will this just open automatically?
The door will just open. Believe me. You can really trust that. And people are let into your life every day. Be aware of those that are let in. There's a reason they're there.
Let in on their own, or that I open the door to them?
They'll come in on their own. You don't have to worry. When your light's shining out there, your light is like a magnet that attracts people to you. They don't understand what they're doing either. But you'll find they're just right there in front of you, and they're asking you a question, and you're giving an answer. So that there will be a way for you to serve. And you can trust it because it's there. But you have to have the eyes to see it. You do a lot of that without even being aware of it.
Oh.
The whole thing is to see what you're doing. And this is where meditation's good because it makes you aware of, Jiminese, I've been doing that all my life. But it's like teamwork with God. If you're doing it on your own, you feel like, well, it's there part of the time and it isn't. But when you're working consciously in teamwork with God, it's right there, boy, and you can see it every day. I'm always amazed.
Well, I feel so compelled, that there's something waiting there somehow.
That's right. Build your energy first, and that door will open.
Could I ask you another question? I wonder, can you tell me if my daughter and my husband and I were together before?
Yes, I get 7 times with the daughter, 5 with your husband.
Was she in a parent position to me?
Yep, always. So that makes it very strong.
I wondered because it's, I get that feeling myself.
Right. She's an old soul, though. She knows pretty much what she's talking about.
I kind of trust her.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is KSFO in San Francisco. It's 31 minutes after 8. You're on the air with Betty Bethards.
Hi, Betty.
Hi.
I have 2 questions. One, my husband has been meditating, and a couple of times he's seen like a person, I can't tell if it's male or female, in like a brown hooded cape.
Uh-huh.
And they keep saying to him, come home. And that scared me.
In a brown cape?
Yeah, sort of like a monk's.
He couldn't see a face, could he?
No, he couldn't.
Okay. Whenever you cannot see a face, it's a very high teacher.
Well, I know.
And I get by coming home, they mean consciously work with us.
Well, I know that he said once, and I talked to your husband Greg about this because it frightened me, that he saw a place with golden pillars and white steps and white-gowned men, and they told him, and they said, come with us, we will not harm you. And he was frightened. He'd only been meditating 2 weeks.
Wow, he's really ready.
And he was scared stiff.
Yeah, that is frightening when it happens to you.
He came back in and he says, I hate to say this, but I am a chicken.
I'm with him. However, this place that you're describing, I've seen before myself, and it's the place where the Akashic records are kept, or the Book of Life is kept. And what they're doing is drawing him to them in order to study, to learn, to be trained. And this is during meditation. It does not mean he's going to physically leave the body, because then he couldn't help mankind the way he came back to do. what I would have him do is say, if you do not come of God, go to progression.
Yeah, well, he's done that.
And they won't disappear because they're the White Brotherhood.
They're not going anywhere. They
No.
can sit there and they
Right.
wake him up all night. They wake him up at 2 and at 3 and at 4.
I'd say, come on now, knock it off. I'll give you my hour at night, but by gollies, I won't give you any time during the night.
Yeah. And, I wanted to ask you, too, of something related to Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
Did the people of Atlantis, were any of the people of Atlantis blind? Or did they have the pineal gland or third eye developed to such a sense that they could see?
I get that, as we would call it, there were people who were born without physical eyes. However, their third eye was totally open so that they could see clearer than we can see here today.
But, I mean, they could see to walk and to...
Yes.
Right. It's funny, I have had a feeling about this for a year, that this was possible, that something was possible to do this.
Oh, yes. This is why many people choose to be blind in this incarnation, even though they don't understand it. It's like elderly people who get cataracts and all. What you're really doing is preparing yourself to have the spiritual sight come in before you cross over.
Yeah, because, I've had a very strong feeling about, that I'm supposed to pick up on this and teach it or something.
Mm-hmm.
But do something about this, because I've had a very strong feeling that I should work with blind and with deaf.
You taught them in Atlantis.
That's why I feel so strongly about it.
You would be drawn to that again today.
And could I ask one more question that's personal?
Mm-hmm.
My Aunt Ruth was killed when she was very young in an automobile accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the feeling that she has reincarnated. Am I wrong?
I get, yes, she has. And that's interesting because that's very fast.
As who?
As one of your relatives. But they aren't going to say who.
I have a very strong feeling who she is.
A little voice said, this is not for you to know.
I just have a very strong feeling as to who she reincarnated as.
I get that you do know.
Well, that's nice to know.
Okay, good luck to you.
Okay, well, thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Good evening. You're on the air on KSFO.
Hi, Betty.
Hi.
Hi. Are you getting any feedback from my radio?
No.
Good. The radio's in the kitchen. I forgot to turn it down.
Oh.
I wanted to mention something in regard to what you said about the house you moved into and things beginning to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I had the same experience in the apartment I'm living in now. I've been here about 5.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And from the
time as me. I moved in
from the
6
time
years.
I moved in here, oh, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Really, in fact, I've kept a diary, and I've got a diary of about 400 pages of peculiar things. Not all about the manifestations, but about dreams and things like that.
Mm.
But anyway, it seems as though whatever it is, the psychic or whatever it is, has been stepped up here.
Right.
And
there are certain areas in around here, particularly in the Bay Area, in Northern California, that have this strong, heavy vibration. Like my house had been built for 2.5 years. Every house in the area sold. This one didn't. Mm-hmm. It sold 3 times, and everyone's loan did not go through.
It was waiting for you.
Yeah, it was waiting for me, and boy, it clobbered me right after I got in.
Well,
it was beautiful, but it was fast growth.
Well, I heard sort of a story like that from the manager. This is an apartment building, and she was sure I wouldn't want it. She says people say they want it, and then they'll even leave a deposit, and then they call and say, no, I've changed my mind.
That means it isn't meant for them.
And I came along, and I fell in love with it and took it, and I've been here ever since.
Right. It has to wait for the right person, see. Mm-hmm. This is always the case. If somebody else likes it, they'd be blocked. Something would happen to block them.
Well, so anyway, as I say, things have begun happening here, and one night, about 4 years ago, I saw a part of my boy's halo, or his aura. It was like a halo of light around his head and shoulders, and it was a very beautiful gold with a faint touch of pink. What would that mean?
The pink is love. And the gold, of course, is the Christ light.
Well, it was only momentary. It looked like flames all around his head and shoulders.
Yeah, as your sight progresses and that clairvoyance develops, you'll be able to see far more colors than that.
Well, I don't see the halo or the aura anymore, but I do see around my apartment, I see patches of this beautiful lavender blue appear.
Wow, that's spirituality and protection.
Oh, great, because I felt I needed. I'm the one who called you previously about the voodoo that was being worked on me and all that. Well, I've had that happen here, but so many other more beautiful things that I figure, the good has outweighed the bad. But I see these patches of a brilliant silver-white light, too.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I'm reading, a patch about the size of $50 of the lavender blue or the white light will appear on the page I'm reading.
Right. This is common because you're concentrating.
Uh-huh.
Anytime you concentrate, then they will appear, and particularly in the evening, it's always on your book.
Yeah.
I keep saying, get out of here.
Or if I'm typing, it'll appear on the page that I'm typing on. Now, there are two more things I wanted to bring up. I know there are other people waiting. I don't want to take up your time, but one, a friend of mine, my very closest friend, had a dream about me within the last couple of weeks, and she said that in the dream she turned around and she said, well, there's Nancy, which is me, and she said I was all white.
Mm-hmm.
She said she couldn't tell what I looked like, but I was all this white.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, as she looked, then I became my normal self.
Mm-hmm.
Would that have any particular meaning?
It just means that both of you were out of the body, and she was looking at you.
I sort of thought we had met somewhere.
Yeah, because at night we go out of the body.
Yeah, well, I know. I've never gone. Oh, I think once while I was awake, but I usually know when I've been.
Yeah.
And I know that you talk about going to school. I've known now for about 4 or 5 years. The thought keeps coming to me, I'm going to school, but I don't know what I'm doing.
That's right. You don't remember it.
Uh-huh. And sometimes I can't sleep for nights in a row, and then all of a sudden I'll sleep for about 5 or 6 hours, and when I wake up, I have had no dreams. But I think, boy, I've really been busy tonight, but I don't know what I was doing.
Right. Everybody is at night. We think we're sleeping. Forget it. We're all out of the body doing our thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, there was one more thing I wanted to ask you. What was it? Darn it. Catch it while I have you here. Heck, I can't think of it now, but maybe I'll call back another time.
Okay. You weren't meant to think of it because we're out of time because we got a lot of people on the line.
Okay, fine. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for calling.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Watch out for the Reagan tax initiative. Proposition number 1 won't work. Proposition 1's fiscal gimmickry has failed in states which have tried it, failed with disastrous results. Republican and Democratic governors across the country agree. Governor Reagan's fellow Republicans in New York, West Virginia, Washington, Michigan, Oregon, Connecticut, Missouri, Massachusetts all oppose locking fiscal straitjackets into state constitutions. Democratic governors in Pennsylvania, Maine, Georgia, South Carolina, Illinois, Minnesota, Utah all warn against building inflexibility into governmental finance. So do California's League of Women Voters, the Educational Congress, the League of Cities, the County Supervisors Association, the State Labor Federation, AFL-CIO, the Sierra Club, the NAACP, and hundreds of other groups which oppose Proposition 1 as fiscal gimmickry at its worst. Proposition 1 is a massive shift of state responsibility to the shoulders of local taxpayers. Listen to the experts. Don't be duped. Vote no on Proposition 1. Paid for by Californians against Proposition number 1.
We are 5 seconds closer to the next major earthquake. Be prepared for the unexpected. Earthquakes are a part of our normal environment. To minimize damage in your home, anchor heavy objects. Securely fasten shelves to walls. Store heavy or dangerous items on lower shelves. Follow earthquake-resistant building codes. Learn the basics of first aid. Be sure responsible members of your family know how to turn off utilities if they are damaged. Gas, water, and electricity. And be sure you contact your local utility office for assistance in restoring service. Be prepared if disaster strikes. For your free handbook entitled In Time of Emergency, call your local civil defense or disaster agency, or write today to the State Office of Emergency Services, Box 9577, Sacramento.
I'll be back with Betty Bethards and you on the phone in just a minute. Kodak film helps you remember. The fog coming in, the tide going out, graduation day or first paper route, an anniversary, a birthday cake, a rodeo, or a trip to the lake. To capture these moments that may never come again, count on Kodak film. Whether you take snapshots, slides, or movies, there's a Kodak film that's just right for your camera. And it's a good idea to always have some extra Kodak film on hand, too, because it's hard to anticipate the pictures you might want to take. And nothing is more frustrating than to discover you're out of film when that big moment happens. You never know when a great picture is going to come along. Sometimes they happen when you least expect them. So you've got to be prepared. See your photo dealer today and pick up a supply of Kodak film. Then you'll be ready for those picture-taking situations. A squeeze and a hug, a kiss on the cheek, playing peekaboo or hide-and-go-seek. Would you trust these moments to anything less than Kodak film? 17 minutes now before 9 o'clock. And let me see where I am on the phone lines. Don't want to get anybody out of order here. All right. Good evening. You're on the air with Betty Bethards on KSFO.
Are you talking to me?
Yep.
Oh, good. I have some questions about dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me, by the way, hi, Betty.
Hi.
Can you give me, we were discussing the difference between prophecy, dream, and vision. Are there any differences in those?
Yes, there is. A vision, you will know it's a vision. You don't have to question yourself. You just know. It's right. It's very upfront. You don't have to figure out symbology or anything. There's an interpretation going at the same time as the vision is going. It's all there within seconds. A prediction kind of dream, I can tell the difference when I get one. It's funny, I haven't had one since I've been doing this. And I used to have them all the time, but once I started meditating, I don't have them anymore. The others are usually symbology, and I just take them, as if I remember them, I know there's a reason I remember them, and get in, Betty, and work on them. So then that's when because no matter where I go, I carry my Do You Dream book with me, right clutched under my little paw, so I can figure it out, because it really seems to when I'm out of town or in a strange area. My dreams really start coming at much more, it seems like, than at home. At home, when I'm dreaming, I'm always being taught, and I always hear myself saying, yes, I understand, and incorporate the whole thing, and I wake up and I know I've been learning, but I don't remember a darn thing, and I think, what are you saying you understand? You don't even know.
That's kind of what's been happening to me since I've become aware of dreams and everything. I've got my dream book that you talk about at your lecture.
It's good. It is
and I find that as I'm dreaming, I'm trying to think, now, what does that mean?
Yeah, right. You know you're dreaming. This is what's so beautiful about it. And with me, I can argue back in dreams, If I don't like something, I tell them so. Or I'll ask good questions, and I'll think, gee, Betty, that's really a good one. And I'll be thinking of other things I want to ask. And those usually I'll remember.
I'll have to try that next time.
Yeah, you'll get it. It took me about, 3 years of meditating to be able to do that, though. I wasn't able to do it right at the start.
I also wanted to know, you always talk about how we leave our body when we're asleep at night. Where do we receive our dreams? Do we come back into our body to dream, or do we get them while we're out?
We're out of the body. But see, there is a consciousness link that's going between both the etheric and this physical vehicle. So that when you're out there, you know you're out of the body. And that's an interesting thing, too. I know I'm standing out of the body. I know I'm on the other side. You're usually like, this is where I've seen that golden building that they were talking about, because I sit in the classroom in there. So I know it has a lot of aspects. It's as a temple. And it does have large columns, and they're all white columns. Beautiful things. But you're taken over there and trained. And, of course, if you're meditating, then they can work with you easier on the other side because they know you're going to work on your dreams. And they become clearer to you.
They are coming clearer.
Yeah.
Really, I'm having fun doing it.
Oh, it's a ball. And I'll tell you, the greatest thing about it, this is the only way I pick up on myself at all. I can ask a question, and I'll get it in my dreams, and I can depend 100% if I'm going the wrong way, I'll know it by my dreams. That's the beauty about it, because you can tell whether you're going up or you're going down.
Well, my guides seem to be very nice because
they're beautiful.
Most of the dreams lately that I've had have been encouraging ones, letting me know that because I don't receive much at all in meditation, and sometimes I'm having trouble even.
Right. Oh, I never get anything in meditation. It's just the energy that I get.
I don't even feel that.
Yeah, you will. You will feel that. But that's all I want out of meditation, because my dreams is where I'm going to get my guidance.
Well, mine seems to encourage me a lot. At one of the groups that I go to, your foundation, we talk about the dreams, and they've been mostly encouraging.
We're running some tremendous dream classes, too, around the Bay Area that are really good, where you get in and really work on them.
I'm already signed up.
Good. You'll enjoy it, because this will help so much. If anybody is interested in doing dream groups, you can contact the foundation on that, too.
Well, I had started one, and we had to disband because of some people couldn't make it back. But the 2 lessons that I did have really helped me a lot to take into account. Like, for example, all the symbols in your dreams aren't necessarily in that book.
Right.
And just
you look in a dictionary, too. That's what I check with, boy.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Oh, it's good because a lot of times you'll get a symbol and it won't make sense to you. But if you look up the word in a book, in the dictionary, you find out it has other meanings that you may not have even dreamed it had.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always use the dictionary.
Well, that's where the class really helped me because I heard those other people interpreting their dreams, and they said, well, this means this.
Colors are important. Simple things are important. It's like the car you see yourself driving in. All of those things are important. The color of the houses, everything has a meaning, and it's the simple things. If you can catch those little things, you'll know right where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful teaching method.
Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Well, thank you. Same to you, honey.
Good evening. You're on the air with Betty Bethards on KSFO.
Yes, I'd like to ask Betty two little simple questions. The first is, what does she think of Christian Science?
Of Christian Science? Mm-hmm. I think it's a very beautiful belief. I feel, my sister is one, as a matter of fact. I feel that it's a place where people are thinking in positive terms. They understand that thoughts are things and that they're attracting to them what, they're thinking. And I see a lot of good going through that.
Have you seen people physically healed?
Yes, I have. My sister.
Okay, then in that light...
but I believe in doctors, too,
Well, then, do you foresee me being healed by Christian Science, then, by the way?
I get a yes, if you can go within yourself and handle the sensitivity that you're carrying.
And one final question. I'm going to see a spiritualist in Redwood City this week.
Reverend Plough?
Right.
Yes, he's beautiful.
Do you foresee anything happening at all?
Yes, I feel good results from this also.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good luck to you.
Good evening. You're on the air on KSFO with Betty Bethards.
Hi, Betty.
Hi.
I have a question about dreams also.
Uh-huh.
I think it was about 3 years ago, I had a dream in which there was a bust of an Egyptian, like a pharaoh or someone of royalty.
Mm-hmm.
And it impressed me, and it stuck with me, And I had another one recently about the god Imhotep.
Mm-hmm.
And in the dream, we were in a house that had large white columns in the front.
Wow.
And there was an upstairs, and he was a mummy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just raising all kinds of cane, making all kinds of racket, and just tearing things up, I never at any time felt fear, but it was kind of unnerving.
Is there a part within you that you're keeping under wraps?
Yes,
ready to raise cane?
Well, possibly, because we heard a loud crash, went outside, and there were these white pillars, somewhat like a plantation-type house.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole top floor was all glass. And he had thrown a ladder out and broke the glass.
The ladder is for climbing. It steps up, and, of course, being on the top floor is your spiritual center. There's a part of your spiritual growth that's rebelling there, that you're holding under wraps, that's really anxious to get out.
Well, I feel that. And, what he wanted was recognition.
That's right.
Because as soon as he saw that we saw him,
mm-hmm.
then he very calmly went back inside, and
mm-hmm.
everything was fine.
Right. The recognition comes in finding the God within self.
Mm.
Are you meditating?
No, I'm not.
I'd say that's what he's telling you. It's the only way you're going to get in touch with him, with that aspect.
I have been searching. There's just such a driving thing to find a way. I have also, there seems to be some kind of terrific symbolism with me with keys.
Mm-hmm.
They just come to me. I have all kinds of keys.
That's telling you to open the chakras, and the key to the God source, the key to the spiritual growth, the key to the attic is the heart chakra. And you must use love to open it.
Let's see.
And, of course, the Bible speaks of the 7 keys, which are the 7 chakras.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, open your chakras. Get it going.
So, meditation...
It's the only way to open them. It's the only safe way to open them.
I see. I thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling.
Imagine a 40-foot shark in your living room. Pretty hard to imagine. But thanks to Channel 4's new underwater adventure program, Inner Space, you can have all the thrills and excitement of the world beneath the sea right in your own home, without the mess. Be sure to be watching Channel 4 Saturday night at 7:30 for Inner Space. It's the excitingly new underwater program that's so good, even Jacques Cousteau will sit up and watch. Inner Space, Saturday night at 7:30 on Channel 4.
You're listening to KSFO in San Francisco with Betty Bethards. I'm Peter Scott. The phone number here is 982-5517. We have another hour to go after this hour. And if you try and call and the line is busy, wait till someone hangs up and try again. Okay?
Remember tomorrow, reach for tomorrow, save for tomorrow the citizen's way. Your hopes, your dreams, and the better life you've waited for, you'll find tomorrow at Citizens Today.
Never put off till tomorrow that which you can do today. That's still pretty good advice. And why not do something about it? Do something about tomorrow today. Visit your nearest Citizen Savings office, open an insured account, set a goal, and start reaching for it. You'll get there faster because Solid Citizens pays higher than ever interest on insured savings, and Citizens gives you more valuable complimentary services, too. Ask about tomorrow today at Citizens, California's oldest statewide savings association, over $1 billion strong. 40 Citizen Savings offices serving California. There's a Citizens office in San Francisco at 40 Eddy Street, near Market at Powell. Open Monday through Friday, but closed Saturday. Okay, Betty, I think we have time for one more call before we get out of this hour. And good evening. You're on the air on KSFO with Betty Bethards.
Hello, Betty.
Hi.
I've got turned on to your meditation about, I guess in August I saw your program one Saturday night, and I haven't been doing it that much, but it really makes me feel good. And I was wondering if I could teach it to my daughter who's 10.
Oh, yes. 10-year-olds, it's a beautiful age to teach them at. They'll never go into the drug scene or anything if they're meditating.
Well, I've been through that trip, and
right.
This meditation is so great,
Oh, it's beautiful. It's the only way to go.
Yeah, it feels good every time I get. But are you supposed to close your eyes or keep them open?
You don't close them during the first part unless you want to. I keep mine closed because I'm such a terrible concentrator.
Right. I've been keeping mine closed because I can't concentrate too.
Right. You're like me. You're scattered all over the place. But during the second part, you definitely close them.
Right.
Some people like to concentrate on a picture or their trees outside the house or something, and this is fine. But I just have always kept mine closed.
Right. And I was wondering, have my daughter and I ever been together before?
Yeah, she was your mother twice and you were sisters 3 times.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we're both Libras with Leo rising.
Oh, so am I. Welcome to the club.
What does that mean?
That means we got to work on our balance, can't you
really?
tell? For real? We go up and we go down.
Right, all the time.
Right. The meditation levels it off.
Huh?
The meditation levels it off.
Yeah, it does. It really has helped. And my old man, have we been together before?
Oh, yeah, 5 times.
Oh, my God. No wonder I can't. I don't know. I feel like I have to. We got to do something together.
Right.
And I just can't throw it away. And nothing else, other relationship has felt this way before.
Right.
And it's really.
It's a good constructive one.
Huh?
It's a good constructive one because you're both growing.
Good. I feel that.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother, I was really close to him, and he passed on about 10 years ago. And I was wondering if that he's come back again in another reincarnation.
No,
yet.
I don't even see him incarnating again. I get that he finished it.
Oh, good.
That was all the time he had to fulfill.
But we are very close, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he's my teacher even before I got into a meditation trip.
He was everyone's teacher. An old soul like that would be teaching everyone whose life he comes in contact with.
He was when he was alive, too. He was so pure.
That's what I mean.
Right.
Right. That's beautiful.
Let's see.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, Betty, why don't we, before we get any further, so I don't want to get into a call and have to cut it off, why don't you mention where your lectures are going to be that are coming up?
Okay, next Friday, November 2nd, I'll be in Oakland at St. Stephen's Methodist Church on 13th in the corner of Park Boulevard. On Monday, November 5th, I'll be in Marin County at Church of Ignacio, right across the street from Hamilton Air Force Base. And on November 16th, I'll be in Santa Rosa lecturing at the Veterans Memorial Auditorium. All of these lectures are at 8 p.m. I'll also be in L.A. on November 9th, if anybody cares other than me.
In case anybody is dropping down to L.A., you can get down there. I won't be anywhere.
You'll be here.
I'll be hanging out here in case anyone wants to come by, and we can talk about a lot of stuff. We'll be back, as a matter of fact, talking about a lot of stuff with you on KSFO at 9:05, right after Aaron Edwards gives us a report on what's new. Take more of your phone calls, and so far tonight's call's been really good. So we'll see you after Aaron Edwards reports on what's new here on KSFO in San Francisco.
Good evening. This is KSFO News. According to columnist Jack Anderson, a former Washington lobbyist has sworn in an affidavit that he gave Vice Presidential nominee Gerald Ford about $15,000 in so-called cash loans that were never repaid. Anderson says the lobbyist, whose name is Robert Winterberger, has sworn that Ford accepted the money in amounts of $50 to about $250 over a 3-year period and never offered to pay it back. Anderson says that an aide to the Michigan congressman denies the charge as a categorical lie, and Ford also says that the allegations are false. Anderson says the lobbyist's affidavit also alleges that Ford had helped a $125,000 Republican contributor obtain a high government post and had not objected to the lobbyist giving 3 of Ford's staffers Christmas gifts. In Palo Alto tonight, Senator Alan Cranston is telling supporters that his mail during the week contained over 13,000 letters calling for the impeachment of the president, compared to just 600 opposed. And he says the percentage pro and con hasn't changed because of President Nixon's news conference yesterday. Senator Cranston says the press has done a magnificent job, and they're as honest as can be. He says the Watergate investigations and the disclosures that led Spiro Agnew to resign the vice presidency were due to the free press. A battle is said to be shaping up between congressional Democrats and President Nixon, and it looks as if acting Attorney General Robert Bork is about to get caught right in the crossfire. The battle is over Nixon's decision to have Bork name a new special Watergate prosecutor. The president says he will cooperate with the prosecutor. Democrats are not satisfied with that. They want an independent prosecutor, which Bork promises they will have. In Fresno, Senator Daniel Inouye, member of the Senate Watergate Committee, says that the president's news conference did not change his opinion that President Nixon should resign. The Hawaii Democrat says that the president's proposal to appoint a new special prosecutor sounded almost identical to what he promised to do before Archibald Cox was named special prosecutor. Also here in the West, attorneys for Governor Reagan's tax initiative are sending letters to 150 radio stations protesting some advertisements against the measure, and they're asking that they not be broadcast. This move comes just one day after Governor Reagan's campaign committee filed a suit in Sacramento seeking a court order against the ads. The committee claims the ads are deliberately untruthful. With the Mideast war apparently winding down, United Nations truce forces are now pouring into the fighting areas. About 600 members of the peacekeeping force, all of them armed for self-defense, flew from Cyprus to Cairo and immediately began deploying to the ceasefire line along the Suez Canal. They are the initial detachment of a planned 7,000-man group being mustered by the Security Council. Most of them are from Sweden, Finland, and Austria. There is more news, and I'll be back with that in just a minute.
Confound it, Hoskins. The latest poll shows that Proposition 1 is going to win. We've really got to lay it on now. Let's pull out old Reliable.
What's that, sir?
Go back and tell my constituents that Proposition 1 will benefit the rich at the expense of the poor.
But, sir, Proposition 1 completely eliminates state income taxes for families making less than $8,000.
Well, how about this one? It's never failed me yet. We'll say that Proposition 1 gives the rich new tax loopholes.
But, sir, it has nothing to do with loopholes. Loopholes are your job.
Oh.
Maybe we should stick to the facts, sir. And the facts seem to be that Proposition 1 is a way to keep state taxes in line with personal income. It's actually quite simple.
Hoskins, you're really not much help. I mean no help at all. Now, how about if we told the people...
Finally, we can keep state spending and local taxes from getting out of hand without reducing funds for important state services. Let's all vote yes on Proposition 1. Paid for by Californians for lower taxes.
KSFO Sports reports in pro basketball action. Buffalo beat Cleveland tonight, 111-101. The New York Knicks over Philadelphia, 96-90. Chicago downed Houston, 102-92, and Milwaukee beat Phoenix, 104-95. In pro football action tomorrow at Candlestick Park, only heard on radio, no television of tomorrow's game. The 49ers are meeting the Atlanta Falcons. The game begins at 1 o'clock, and airtime right here on KSFO is 12:40. The Bay Area will have fair skies through Monday, but with patches of fog tomorrow morning. Highs tomorrow and again on Monday into the upper 60s to the upper 70s with light wind. And that is KSFO News. Aaron Edwards reporting. KSFO News is everywhere.
And now, a special report from Julia Hare.
What it's all about is a slogan for the East Bay Skills Center, which is trying to help ghetto people find a way out of their economic deprivation. William Dabney, director of this Oakland-based center, has had to learn to work within the strict rules and the complicated bureaucracy of the Department of Labor, who fits the bills.
Our curriculum is primarily a vocational effort, but tied in with it is an enrichment program, most of which, again, because of our guidelines, is very limited. We do English and math, we do ESL, English as a second language for those who have language problems. We do the whole GED prep is a combination of all of the general high school subjects.
The people responsible for tutoring the students in these courses, including college-level business English, are not mere volunteers. The standards that are set by the State Department of Education for credentialing in the public schools and junior colleges are the same for the Skills Center.
It's a standardized situation, and we cannot operate all of our counselors have a counseling credential. All of our teachers have either the vocational teaching credential, or those who teach in related education have either a bachelor's degree or master's or something like that in English or math for the related specific field that they work in. So it's very much in credentialing a set situation that's set up the same way it is for all community colleges.
So if you missed your chance to get a skill or a basic education, the skills centers in Oakland and San Francisco stand ready to give you that second time around. This is Julia Hare for KSFO.
Okay, welcome back. It's 8 minutes after 9 o'clock here at KSFO in San Francisco. Betty Bethards here with Peter Scott. And why don't we get right back onto the phones before we get into any trouble. I know there's a lot of people on the line. The phones have been really lighting up tonight. Okay. Good evening. You're on the air with Betty Bethards on KSFO.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I called
I hope you won't feel that this is trivial, but I was disturbed this morning. At the suggestion of a friend, I went to hear an ancient guru in a meditation class. I thought it would perhaps help reinforce my own meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have good meditation while I was there, and so forth. I'm not going into all that. At the end of the session, I thanked him, which I felt was courteous to do. And he looked at me and said, "You are full of enthusiasm, but you're on the wrong path." And then he just tuned me out without telling me in what way he felt that I was on the wrong path. And that has disturbed me because I have felt that I've made really good progress in the last few months. I mean, I felt that I've been moving forward strongly in spiritual direction, which is where I'm trying to head.
Right. You're doing beautifully, I feel.
And it did shake me up. I should have had enough confidence probably in my own that what I was doing has been beneficial, and I shouldn't have probably even paid attention to it, but it did bother me.
Well, I feel you're headed definitely in the right direction. Your energy level's coming up, and not only the enthusiasm, but your Christ center is really flowing. I don't know what he meant by that. You know, I just don't know what he meant, because your own personal inner direction is right.
Well, that's just what I have been feeling.
Take what you feel right about and check the rest. That's what I do. And I don't pay any attention to what anybody says. I follow what I feel inside myself.
Okay. Could I mention briefly an incident that happened fairly recently? I took a vacation trip with my son, an adult son, which was a most unusual thing because we don't go in for that sort of thing, although we're close in affection, that sort of thing, but we're separated physically, and we just don't do that sort of thing, but it just worked out. And I was in hopes that he would become aware of meditation and its possibilities. I didn't have any intention of ramming it down his throat, but I was hoping it would be an awakening for him, because I know he's a very sensitive person who has closed himself off largely because of his sensitivity, I think, and he could do so much if he were ever opened. But I was unable to reach him in any way, and he was beginning to pull me down. And after I went to bed one night, I had the strangest experience. It was as though in my chest, as though a little sliding door was pushed shut and locked. And I writhed, and I said, "Oh no, not when I've been working so hard to open everything up." I felt that I was being closed off. Was this a protective measure, or did I interpret the whole thing, or
I
what?
get it was for your protection. Your job and what God asked you to do is plant the seeds. It is not your responsibility to see that the person picks it up and grows. Your son will later on, but I see it about 9 years down the road. The only thing you can do is just love them, and you put the seeds there. Now let it go. He has to be ready, and it happens in God's time, not ours, and you have to trust that.
Right.
But your responsibility is to cast out the seeds. If somebody wants to pick them up, great, and if they don't, that's okay too.
Right. Well, this I felt, but I was, as I said, I was getting down to the point where I was having a hard time with my own meditation.
Right, and this is why it closed you down. They're saying, no, let go of it. Close it off in that direction and allow him the freedom of his own free will. And that's something it's hard to do with people you love, you want so desperately to help because you really care, and you know it would work, but
I know
have
he's
to
got
be ready.
this inside of him, you know, and it's frustrating to see it not being utilized.
Right. But his guidance will set him up so that sometime in his life he's going to know. We get dumped often enough that we then have to start looking elsewhere for answers, and he'll know where to go since you put the seed out. He will know.
He's understanding and tolerant of my
of my meditation, but he just says that's your trip, you know,
right.
and it's not mine. It's that kind of thing.
You let him do his trip, too, and you do yours. But he already knows now, and one day he's going to want to know more, and then that's when the seed takes hold. So in the meantime, you just keep sending loving thoughts and prayer, but don't keep pushing it at him.
And then I have my own work to do in the meantime, too.
Right.
I feel that the time is coming when I'm going to have to start teaching.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to study or get somehow in a position where I would be qualified to. But, I mean, I have been feeling this just more and more and more.
Very definitely. As your energy picks up even more, then you'll be able to do it. Good luck to you. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much.
Don't get discouraged. Trust what you feel, not what somebody else says.
I do sometimes get discouraged, but I don't stop working.
That's right. That's where it's all at. Good luck to you, honey.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Good evening. You're on KSFO with Betty Bethards.
Hi.
Hi.
I was curious about this meditation. Since I've been listening to your program, I've really gotten interested and aware of, you know, meditating. I've tried to encourage my boyfriend to get involved in the whole thing because he's nervous, and you've talked about some of these nervous problems.
Right.
He's had colitis and things
His
like
biggest problem is disciplining himself to sit down and do it. That would be the hardest thing in the world for him because he can't sit still for 2 minutes.
And no, he can't. And I've been able to put up with it for like 3 years. I'll just live with it thinking, well, someday he'll learn to relax.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, just like within the last week, you know, I just can't take it anymore. His nervousness, he doesn't want to try to meditate or relax. And I keep thinking, is there something that's meant for us just not to be together anymore because of this? It's like I've automatically, all of a sudden, become aware that I won't be able to live with this the rest of my life, and I've got to end it.
Right, either that or make changes. And I'd lay that out very honestly and up front to him, and now's the time to find out.
Yeah,
if he wants to change, he can, but if he doesn't want to, then you have to allow him to do his thing. But it means that you may have to make changes, and so, but it would be for your growth.
Yeah, well, I understand that. It's just trying to convince him, and then I feel like I'm forcing him to do something that maybe he just doesn't want to do.
Right, you can't do that, but talk to him from your heart and tell him, hey, it really is affecting you.
Yeah, it's giving me, you know, the nervousness. I've always been able to release my nervous tensions quite easily, and then all of a sudden it's...
Does he have any creative outlets?
He's into... He likes to play guitar and things, but he just can't sit still.
Yeah,
he's got to be with somebody.
That's because he's hiding from himself, too.
Yeah, he even has it so far that he can't even stay in his apartment by himself, and he'll get so nervous that he won't be able to drive.
Yeah, wow. Sounds like he really desperately needs help.
Yeah, but I just can't provide it. It has to come from within.
Right, and you can't do it for him. See, that's maybe your lesson is finding out that, hey, I can't do it for anyone else but myself.
But then, see, you
let go and let God.
But then it puts me in a position of saying, you learn to do this yourself, and then I'll see you when you're prepared to you know, handle your tensions and nervousness and stuff. But then it's like I'm leaving him at a time where he really needs somebody. And it just keeps going on and on and on, you know?
Maybe if you leave him, he'll do something about it.
Yeah, that's a maybe.
If you're there, you know, he isn't going to.
Yeah, I have another kind of quick question. I have a grandmother who I was very, very close to for, you know, like all my life, and she died a couple of years ago, and I was wondering if there's any chance that you might have a feeling that she reincarnated, because I have a feeling she's always with me.
Oh, yeah. People wait about 80 to 100 years to incarnate. They don't incarnate that fast. It's very, very rare.
Why would I have this feeling that she's always around?
Because she's been your mother twice, and she walks with you. She cares. She loves you. She's there.
I don't know. It's really strange. I feel closer to her, and now she's dead than I even do to my mother or anybody.
Right. That's because your mother's never been your mother, though.
My mother's never been my mother.
No, you were her mother and you were sisters, but she has never been your mother. And so your grandmother, who has, would take on that maternal role in your soul or in your feelings. Even though you wouldn't understand it, it's there.
Could you feel that my boyfriend, have we ever been together any other time?
Yes, but he's your child.
God.
And that's the exact role you're playing out now, and this is not what you need, nor is it what he needs.
But I feel that I want someone who's like a head older than me. I mean, like who's been maybe my father or something, or some role like that.
No, you want the man-woman stuff going. You don't want a father, you don't want a brother-sister relationship, or a mother-son.
Yeah, I feel like I'm being a mother, and I don't like it.
You are, because that's the role you played before, and he expects that role of you, so you're both just following into what the other guy's projecting.
Yeah, I happen to be a Virgo, and I guess I'm really critical, and I guess this sort of kind of gets his nerves.
Patience, if nothing else.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much, and I hope to attend one of your lectures.
Oh, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we'll be back on the phone in just a minute.
Beautiful, frigid. She is called a snow queen, a woman who lies next to her husband and dreams of tenderness, then wakes up to the nightmare of being unable to give it. Joanne Woodward in Summer Wishes, Winter Dreams, co-starring Martin Balsam and Sylvia Sidney, a Ray Star Gilbert Cates production from Columbia Pictures, written by the author of Rachel. Joanne Woodward in Summer Wishes, Winter Dreams, rated PG, parental guidance.
Now playing in its world premiere engagement at the Bridge Theater in San Francisco.
And now, a little help from your friends overseas.
But here, any place in Europe, like they'll bust you and throw you in jail, and you're there and you can't get out.
In most places in Europe, the penalties are just too strict.
Well, I have one friend who got 6 years.
It's the truth. When you're busted for drugs over there, you're in for the hassle of your life.
And it's just not worth it. You can get in so much trouble.
I mean, once you're busted in this place, you've really got it tough.
Okay, back to the phones with you and Betty Bethards. You're on the air on KSFO with Betty Bethards.
Okay, hello, Betty.
Hi.
Hi, I'm a psychic healer, and it goes well with me, with people and so on, but there's one problem area, and that's blood clots. And on a person-to-person level there, it's something I run into and haven't dared try.
Is this in the lower portion of your body?
Yes.
Okay. I'm picking up some kind of block right down on the right-hand side, low back, that's causing a constriction of the blood vessels in that area, which causes the clotting effect I get because there's not enough energy getting down there. It makes it, what guidance is saying, is sluggish. I'm not supposed to diagnose. Blew it.
Shame on you. Mark one down for Betty.
If you can get a massage on the low back, are you taking medication for this also?
No. I'm the healer, Betty.
Right. But it's hard to heal yourself. Somehow you're cutting off that circulation there. I feel it needs opened up on the low back area.
Okay.
Well, it'd be hard for you to rub it, too. You need someone else to give you a massage on the low back. Also, the feet, massaging the feet would help because this will pull the energy up then and flow in that area. But are you sitting down a lot in your work?
Yes, indeed.
Because I get there's not enough activity, exercise, and that this is making it sluggish and kind of irritating that low back level thing I see.
That's so. That is true.
Okay. I'd try more physical exercise, too.
Okay. Now, my question was about blood clots, though, where I'm going through and I'm giving out this energy and carrying, the headaches and some more traumatic things, too. But when I run into a blood clot with someone else, should I do this or not?
I get a no. Do not work on those at this time.
No. Okay.
Not at this time, because somehow you're able to throw off the rest of it, but your body is weak in that one area, and you're picking up.
Oh.
And this normally shouldn't happen, but there's some kind of thing going on there that's causing it. So that right now, I would not work on someone that has blood clots. Send them to someone else. Refer them to someone else.
Fine, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Now, with the comet coming in, is there a special time to work on long distance, for instance, cancer or heart attack, that kind of thing?
I get that at the period following the full moon, 7 days following the full moon is the best time to do this because you're going to be able to really use that energy as it goes, the comet going through at the same time of the full moon. You're able to pick up more energy. I get for Cancer 7 days before, for heart trouble 7 days after.
Very good. Thank you very much. Very helpful.
I didn't know that.
Now, wait a minute. Now, just a second, Betty. I got a couple of questions. First of all, what is this comet that's coming through?
Oh, you don't know about that?
Well, I do, but I want to sound like I don't.
Okay.
But, what is this?
It's larger than Halley's Comet, and it's coming, it is affecting people right now, even though people aren't aware of it. But very definitely towards the latter part of November, right through, my guidance says, till around 15th, 16th of February, it's going to be influencing us and affecting us very strongly.
Yeah, and I also heard that we were supposed to be able to see it very clearly, and now they say that we're not going to be able to see it like
they had thought?
As clear, like they thought we would.
I get that we will see it, though.
Yeah. When is it supposed to be due? I mean,
my guidance says you'll begin to really feel the effect around the 21st of November, however, visually around the 18th of December in that area.
And that becomes a very strong time for healing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why is that?
It's added energy. Think of all that energy that's bringing in from every one of the planets.
Okay.
And it's coursing through, and it heightens ours, particularly at the time of the full moon, because it's going between those. You just...
All right. So we just...
But I don't know why you can hearts after and Cancer before. That doesn't make sense to me. It sounds hokey. I get it isn't. There's a reason for it. But
okay. There are a lot of things that you say that it doesn't matter if it sounds hokey or not. I'll believe it. Okay, you're on the air on KSFO with Betty Bethards.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I digress for a minute on the topic and bring up what you've talked about the last couple of times, I guess, in regard to Nixon? Two questions in regard to, I guess, the vice presidency now. First of all, what does your guidance see ahead for Ford? And secondly, if we get a certain answer on that, who will be the Speaker of the House's vice president in office if you can go out that far?
They're saying that Ford's not really going to get off the ground in the vice presidency due to other circumstances which are going to be culminating around the end of this month and early into next month. That the situation for him as a political leader is not going to, it just isn't going to get off the ground.
Right.
The Speaker of the House, when he gets in, will choose, and I get his own vice president. And at that time, I feel him choosing someone who's in the minority house, whatever the heck that is. Is there anything like that?
Yeah, that would be because the Speaker of the House is a Democrat. And he would pick a Republican that would be very unusual that he would pick a Republican as a vice president. But that would be an interesting thing that would happen.
Is that what I said?
That's what you said.
Oh my
Do you possibly pick up a state or a name for this vice president?
I get not at this time.
Okay.
There are going to be two considerations very strongly going in. However, that's going to be kind of his free will, but I definitely see it coming out of the minority house.
Right, okay.
That's pretty far out, Betty.
I don't understand government. Boy, I wish I knew what I was
That really is.
about.
Because, first of all, the thing that you said, just to clear up, was last week we got into this a little bit, and you had not seen... you had seen Nixon not finishing his term, not because of assassination or anything else, but because he would resign due to some sort of a mental condition, which you said, which at that time, which up until last week would have seemed a little far-fetched after Gerald Ford's nomination for vice president. But if the president does resign, it would mean that Carl Albert, the Speaker of the House, would become president. And therefore, and of course, during that process, Gerald Ford would... his confirmation by the Senate would not take place because there would be too much going on.
How could they put a Democrat in if it's a Republican?
Well, because the Speaker of the House would go to would become.
No matter what he is.
that's the way. Well, under the circumstances, they're very weird because they did change the law just 2 years ago that the Speaker of the House would not do it. They would have a thing like happened with Gerald Ford. But your predictions precluded all of this. And somehow knew about all of the things that happened. Because if the things go on as they are going now, because you had said Carl Albert would become the president, not Gerald Ford, not the minority leader of the House or anything else. So this is all very strange. And also what you said tonight, it doesn't jibe with with what is normal political behavior, and that's what makes me believe it.
I don't understand it. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's really, well, there's no
somebody up there better know what they're talking about, because I sure don't.
Well, we'll see what happens. Something's bound to happen within the next couple of weeks are going to be very interesting politically. Anyway.
Wow.
All right, now let me get back to where I was. You just blew my complete mind out with that.
Did mine too. It scares me. I don't know why I opened mouth and put foot on this.
Okay. There we go. You're on the air with Betty Bethards on KSFO.
Good evening, Betty.
Hi.
Betty, I called you because I guess what can only be termed a death in the family.
Mm-hmm.
My wife is from the Philippines, and a week ago, well, it was really a week ago, Friday night, we found out about it. Her father died, rather suddenly, Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
She is there now. In fact, as we talk right now, the funeral is taking place. When we woke up Friday morning, she said that she had been home during the night with her grandmother, who was sort of always around her.
That's right.
And had talked to Daddy and seen him, and, just didn't feel too, good about things.
That's right.
When we got a call Friday night, from the Philippines, I knew exactly, why we had the call.
Yeah.
Her sister called, and she said she couldn't tell my wife that Daddy was gone, which I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I really couldn't do it myself either. So I called a friend of mine down in Palo Alto, who you have met, and without really telling her, she told my wife that her daddy had died the night before.
Mm-hmm.
She, like you, was, if I can use the term psychic, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really tell her that, but she just had known this. My question really concerns now is my bride returns from the Philippines in about another week. With the death of her daddy, do you see any changes in her or anything that I, should do, expect in her as she returns?
There was a very deep love bond going there, which I'm sure you're aware of. A lot of respect and love going in that direction. However, I feel that deep inside your wife knew that her father was gone. I really feel she knew that. I get that the gift she was given in seeing him, though, was telling her that he was going. That was like a goodbye. But by the time she returns to the States, she will have had another vision of him by her. And she will know that he has not left her in any way. And I feel that just loving her, it's going to be all right. I don't see any big change in her. Some maturity, but a lot more strength is there in that gal than you know.
Yeah, I kind of think she's a rather young spirit. Do you get that?
I feel she is, but there's much to be gained in this incarnation by her. Much to be gained.
Good. Well, I certainly hope so.
Good luck to you. That's pretty heavy, being tuned in that way.
Yeah, well, we had communicated ourselves occasionally, just sort of run across each other at various places where, for example, we were leaving town to go on a little vacation.
Right.
And I had my little boy with me, and I said, hey, let's go get something. And we walked into this bakery, and there she was.
Right.
We've done that many times.
Right.
And we started looking at each other. We read your book, which you signed for me at one time. And I do meditation about once a week. See, I know I'm not, very consistent.
That's okay. Once is better than none.
Yeah, but when we do it, it seems to help. She gets great peace from it.
Yes, she would, because she is so wide open.
Yeah, very.
When she comes back, I would meditate with her daily for at least 10 days. I get that this will help her to perceive him even stronger, to know that there is no loss.
Okay.
She'll really understand that.
Good. One other thing. I have a 4-year-old son who sometimes to me I think is very old.
Oh,
spirit.
Very old. He's 86.
Yeah.
Right. You can learn a lot from him.
Yeah.
Listen to him.
He talks to me like he's my father sometimes.
He has been twice.
Yeah.
And you were brothers 3 times, but he was a Buddhist monk in one incarnation where he was your teacher. So he's your counselor, your guidance, and your teacher as well.
Yeah.
Must be frustrating for him being small and in the body again. That's a rough road.
Yes, but patience will out.
Right, and he will teach you much.
He has already.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you.
Good night. Good evening. You're on the air on KSFO in San Francisco with Betty Bethards.
Good evening, Betty.
Hi.
I'm just getting into reading Ruth Montgomery's books and all, and I don't quite understand some of the things that she's trying to explain.
Such as?
One of the things is once a soul leaves the body and goes behind the door, can it come back without the body it left turning back to its natural state? I mean, can the soul come back having this shell still, like embalmed and all?
Embalmed?
Well, I'm not making myself clear.
No. If you leave the body at death, quote, and you're out of the body and the cord is severed, there is no way you can come back. But if the cord is not severed, you can come back into the body.
No, I mean in another body.
Into someone else's body?
Pardon?
Are you talking about taking over someone else's body?
No, I mean someone has died, and they have gone behind the door, the other dimension, and they're with their friends and all. Can that person come back as another person, as a newborn child, starting life all over again, with the other shell left behind, still in its natural state? I mean dead, but, not cremated or something like that.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
That's what reincarnation's all about. But, I mean, you wouldn't come back usually for 80 to 100 years. And by then, your shell or your empty house is going to be back to dust.
Now, I have a very large family, and I was wondering, do we all have common souls?
Yep.
Even my 5 children?
Oh, yes. We choose our parents, and we choose our race, the whole thing.
Well, you tell me.
There's always ties.
You told me my oldest son was once my father.
Mm-hmm.
And in trying to analyze it, have I analyzed it right by saying to myself that he has to wear my shoes and I have to wear his to be able to understand each other?
No, just be aware that he has been the one that's been the boss before, and he's going to resent it if you talk down to him. If you come across to him as an adult to adult, even though he's a child, you can talk to children without laying trips on them.
And it's hard for me to communicate with anyone. Most of
like sister brothers, come across equals as sister brothers.
As if they were my brother.
Talk to him as you would to another adult, and he'll do anything in the world for you.
Okay.
But just don't look down on him, because that makes him feel very incapable and frustrated.
Yes, it does. I kind of think like perhaps his personality is an awful lot like mine.
Yep.
And also there's another child I find difficult to communicate with. What was he to me before?
Your husband.
Jeffrey was my husband?
Mm-hmm. So again, it's the equal relationship and having to go across as equals rather than coming down on them. Of course, you're so sensitive, see, and you get negative, and they pick up your negativity, just boom, and they'll reflect it right back at you. When they're acting up, watch where you're coming from. I think you'll find it's coming from you, and if you can change it instantly, just start singing or be happy. Watch how fast they change.
And my twins, aren't you very close to them? Is there something special there?
Yes, so that's been very good relationships there. You have been the parent, so you can flow very well with them.
And Anthony also, he's a Libra. And he and I argue an awful lot because there's that very sensitive feeling between the two of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's been marriage, though.
You got a lot of kids hanging around.
Boy,
right
I guess.
Oh, yes. But I also, I sometimes feel like flushing down the toilet.
Don't we all? But you love them.
Betty, I have a very dear friend who is sitting next to me. I love her very much, but she has been having problems with my uncle. And before we go into that, have my uncle and I known each other before?
Oh, yeah. You've been sisters 3 times. You were together in 2 other incarnations where you were in art together.
Art.
She was a very good backer of yours. This incarnation, she's going through some changes here, and it is difficult. And if she's patient through the end of next month, things are going to smooth out for her.
Do you think my uncle and her are right for each other?
As long as she wants to be the mother, it's fine.
Oh, yeah, I've been telling her the same thing.
Mm-hmm. When she gets tired of it, and she will, she's going to get up and get out. But she's got to be ready to do that. She's putting herself through her own hell. And it's okay, stay down there and wallow in it. But when she wants to do something, she's going to get up and go do it.
So her and I have known each other, but what about my uncle and I? He's very physical, so I think perhaps we've known each other before.
He's very what?
Physical.
Been brother and sister, but it's also been marriage. But he's going, any woman would draw him because his ego's hurting.
Yes.
And he just needs his ego bailed up. He's doubting his masculinity, and he wouldn't want to hear that at all.
No.
But so he has to prove it to himself, so that's the reason he goes around doing that.
Is there something we can do to help?
I get a no because he doesn't want help. He would never admit it. He's a stubborn man with a lot of pride, and he doesn't want to look within and make changes, and you can't do it for him.
All right, now, Patricia has got a friend that's a lot older.
I'm really sorry to do this, but we've gone about 5 or 6 minutes with this call, and there are a lot of other people on the line.
All right, can I ask her one more question?
All right, one more question. It's got to be quick.
My mother passed away, and I feel sometimes she's close to me. And matter of fact, I feel that she's the one that introduced me to you.
Mm-hmm.
Is she really my doormat, or is it just I want her to be?
Oh, she's there. We're always there when we love her. If you were to cross over, you'd be around your children. That'd be, it'd be dumb not to be because you care.
Was she related to you before?
Yes, she was, but it's more sisters.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you, Betty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good evening. You're on the air with Betty Bethards on KSFO.
Hi, Betty.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm fine. You know who this is?
Not name-wise.
Doobie.
Oh, right. Uh-huh.
How you been?
Fine.
I got you in a dream the other night.
Oh, good.
Yeah. You and Peter were standing outside my window.
Uh-huh.
It's really far out. You and Peter were standing outside my window.
There was a rail there. We'd hate to fall if it was a long way down.
It's only 20 feet.
Oh.
It's less than that, about 15.
Yeah.
But it was really strange because there's a statue in front of my house. And that statue has a lady at the bottom and the man at the top. I forgot the artist who made it. But
that's Pete Nye.
Huh?
That's Pete Nye, stand on the statue.
But anyway, I saw you, and you were telling me something, and Peter was finishing up the show, and it was really interesting, and you turned away and you walked, and you said, be patient. And I said, I will, and I said, I love him, you love me too, and you walked away. It was really, really strange.
Wow. Being patient must be your lesson then.
Huh?
Being patient must be your lesson.
Oh, no, that's not my lesson.
Okay.
No, because I know I'm pretty well patient if you check it out, because I've been sitting for a while.
Good show. That's good. Did you have a question?
Yes, I did. Concerning the prediction you made, one, and one is concerning my family. Now, I know I have to move, but this is with reference to move.
Right.
And I know I must make that choice, and I want to. But in reference to my family, I want to know how can I go about this to make my mother happy. She is stubborn. She is a Capricorn, and I do love her very much, and I love my brother. My brother is in a little bit of a mess also.
Just because you move out doesn't mean, that you're not going to be around to love them.
Yeah.
It doesn't. If you can convince them that, look, I'm not moving to the moon, I'll still be there.
Yeah.
And if you need me, I'm there.
Yeah.
There's always a telephone. The communication, is right there.
You think that, should I keep trying? I did that thing that everybody was telling me, all my friends, and it still didn't work.
I would just make the break. When you
That's
feel
what my brother told me before he left for San Jose, where he got in trouble and everything. He told me, just leave one of these days and go.
That's the way you do it.
It's the
only way, because you can't talk about it.
That's
just
true.
do it.
You really can't.
Right, and then you let them know you love them, and you let them know where you're at, and then it's okay, because once it's done, it's okay.
Okay, and is my sister going to be okay?
Yeah, I guess she'll be all right.
Okay.
It's going to be rough riding, but she's going to make it.
And I'll get my prediction. I want to tell me about next month, and I'll catch that over the phone. You were going to say something to me. So I'll catch it over the phone so you can set up a next one for meditation.
What was that? I don't...
The next month you said something was going to happen that was going to change a lot. And I see it coming and I feel it coming. I I hear a lot of insight. And I'm always looking to the north, too, to see water and mountains and a place to live. And you could comment on that also. I'll send it to you so you won't, over on the air.
Okay.
Okay, Doobie. See you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Truly, won't you help? Right Riff Incorporated, that's RIF, care of Smithsonian Institution, Washington, D.C. 20560.
This is KSFO in San Francisco.
345! Go! Go!
Back to pass goes Spurrier. Looks. Oh, he's got Eisenbarger wide open. Fingertip catch it down to the 20-yard line. Eisenbarger tackled by Jackson and Wyatt.
This is Lon Simmons. That's the kind of football action you'll be hearing from the Western Division champion San Francisco 49ers. And you can hear it all right here on KSFO San Francisco.
49ers play the Falcons. Got the wrong thing in here. 49ers play the Falcons tomorrow out at Candlestick Park. 1 o'clock is game time. 12:40 will be the pregame show. Jim Lang will be out at Candlestick at 11:05, right after the 11 o'clock news. You'll be able to hear him. We'll catch up on everything. So tomorrow, the 49er game, the only place you'll hear it is right here on KSFO San Francisco.
And now, out of his mind, thoughts from Scott Beach.
Without commenting for the moment on the merits of the arguments over Proposition 1, the tax limitation initiative, I do have an opinion about Ronald Reagan's statewide telephone campaign using a recording of his pitch in support of the measure. It stinks to high heaven. I wouldn't be surprised if the whole thing weren't actionable under statutes relating to disturbance of the peace and, well, who knows, maybe even illegal entry and mopery with intent to obfuscate. My telephone is not a proper platform for ambitious politicians to play their fool tapes into my ear. I do not pay a monopoly public utility for the privilege of being sold, nor pitched, nor cajoled, nor speechified, nor anything of the sort. I'm afraid that His G-rated excellency has dialed his way onto my enemies list. Scott Beach, KSFO.
The opinions expressed by Scott Beach are not necessarily those of anyone except the entire Scott Beach.
Yeah, the entire Scott Beach will be here at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Scott, you're okay. All right, it's 12 minutes before 10 o'clock. I don't think we'll have time for any more phone calls. There is one call about meditation. I want to make sure we have enough time for the meditation tonight. Why don't we just take this one more call, Betty, and it'll be about meditation so we can have the time to do it, okay?
All right.
All right, you're on the air with Betty Bethards on KSFO.
Yes, Betty, I had been meditating for about a year, and I heard you at your lecture in Palo Alto. And the next night when I meditated, I had finished my meditation. I thought I had, and I got up to stand up, and there was just like a bolt of electricity went down my back. And then this did it twice. And now I meditate every night, but I haven't felt that so strong since. I feel tingling, and I wondered if by any chance that I might have a healing power.
Oh, very much, but the bolt of electricity didn't have anything to do with healing power.
Is that right?
Yes, you got up too quickly, and it's like your kundalini, your etheric body, the real you, had to jump back instantly into your physical.
Oh, I see.
And that's it coming in like that jerk. Sit up, after you close down, sit 2 to 3 minutes at least, and allow that energy to break so that you're fully merged back in your physical body.
Do you think that I could learn a healing power?
Oh, yeah. I gave that lecture in Palo Alto last night.
Oh, I see. Also, then, here about last month, I would be waking up in the morning by 3 knocks, and I would go to the door, and there wasn't anyone there. And someone, I know, I read in this Psychic World of California, by the way, which there is a passage there about you being a wonderful lady, where they say that this could be your guardian angel.
Anytime it's 3, that's the Trinity, and that is definitely your guidance.
Yeah, definitely.
Always. You could hear your name called 3 times or anything, but that is definitely...
One more thing. I wanted to tell you an experience at the office that I had.
It's got to be real quick.
The girl, I turned around, and she was talking, and I noticed a red streak down her face. And she had a red pin in her hand, and I said, "Oh, you've marked on your face." She said, "No, she hadn't." So she took the mirror out. By the time I went over and looked at her face, it was gone, but it looked like a star. And she looked in her mirror. She saw it, and one of the other girls saw it. She says, well, I was talking to my mother about an hour and a half ago about running into a barbed wire fence when I was a little girl, and it tore my skin down my right cheek. Mm-hmm. And I kept watching it, and it took about 10 minutes or 15 minutes for this to go away. What do you think? Could it be from the scar when she was a small child?
I get to know that this is a symbolic thing which is happening to her.
You don't think it was?
I don't feel it's coming from the scar at all. I feel it's coming from a symbolic thing within her that's opening up. Like in getting cut, she bled. With this same type of symbol, she's opening up something, a new aspect to herself.
I have been trying to get her to meditate, and she's beginning to read an awful lot on the subject, very interested in it.
Now, that would be good for her.
You think that perhaps this is what she means,
right?
What that meant.
Yeah, I really do, that it's opening. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do I have time for just one?
No, because if you don't, we won't be able to get to the meditation
all right.
at all. Thanks for calling.
Nice talking to you.
Bye-bye. Okay. Betty, why don't you do your explanation about the meditation? We talked some about it tonight, and then we can go ahead and do it.
Alrighty, you sit on the edge of a chair so that your spine is not against the back. You want your spine totally erect. Sit up straight and take a deep breath, 2 or 3 of them, and then relax. Put your hands together in your lap. Concentrate your mind to one point. You can listen to the music we're playing here, and that will focus you. We'll do 2 minutes of that, and then I'll say time. And at that point, just turn your palms up in your lap. Have your eyes closed during this part, and just relax and let whatever goes go by you. Just be very passive but aware. If you start rocking, this is okay. It's raising your vibrations. So at the end of 2 minutes, again, I will call time once again. At this point, close your palms into fists and surround yourself with your imagination with a white light, either a pyramid of white light or a bubble of white light. Just get that white around you and underneath you so that you've opened your 5 senses, and bringing in the 6th, you want to turn them back off so that you don't go up and down with everybody you meet. Okay, let's begin. Oh, anybody who wants healing, I will be sending it during this. Picture yourself as healed in the first part. When I say time, just turn your palms up and it'll flow right into you. Let's go.
Okay, Lou, you can bring the music down before I go into a deep trance myself. That music does it to me. That, by the way, people have asked about that. That particular record that we play is called Music for Zen Meditation. And it's an American clarinetist by the name of Tony Scott, who was in Japan, and there's a koto player on it, too. It's very peaceful music, if for nothing else at all. All right, Betty, this is it for us, for tonight anyway. And I'm glad we got to talk about meditation. And next week, we'll use, I know you brought a bunch of questions and you had a lot of stuff prepared for tonight, but I think talking about meditation, one of the things that I'd like to make as an admonition, we got into it tonight during the last 40 minutes of the show or so, which is something I know that you prefer not to do, and I don't think it makes it totally interesting for the people who are listening, is to then dig into personal kind of trips on people. It's, first of all, it drains a lot of energy from Betty, for one thing. And secondly, we'd rather keep the things more generalized. And I think it works better a lot if we keep to a specific subject, rather than get into your personal trips or whatever is going on in your family, or whether your sister was your brother before. It has some interest, but it's not really what we prefer doing. Okay? That's just an admonition. Why don't you mention your lectures one more time, Betty, and then we can...
Okay. Next Friday, November 2nd, we'll be at Oakland at St. Stephen's Methodist Church on the corner of Park Boulevard and 13th. On Monday, November 5th, Marin County, Church of Ignacio, which is right across the street on Ignacio Boulevard, across the street from Hamilton Air Force Base. And on November 16th, I'll be in Santa Rosa at the Veterans Memorial Building auditorium. And all these are at 8 o'clock. There's $3 donation on the door, $2 for members.
Okay, Betty. Next week, we'll be back at 8:05, Betty Bethards and me, Pete Scott. And you have yourself an awfully good weekend. And remind you, hey, turn your clock back an hour tonight. If you're going to bed now, do that.
Oh, really?
Yes, you have to turn your...
Good thing you told me.
The Golden Age of Radio coming up after this. And we have two incredible shows, an Escape show and a Sam Spade show. And they'll be coming up at 10:05. So see you next week here on KSFO in San Francisco. It's 10 o'clock.
Good evening. This is KSFO News. In Southern California near San Diego, a wind-whipped brush fire that broke out in the Cleveland National Forest roared through the lake community of Moreno Village today, destroying at least 12 homes and burning more than 5,000 acres.